If you're looking for a video on Pinterest perfect organizational tips, then this might not be the video for you. But if you're looking for some helpful advice as a mom with ADHD who has spent the past 6 years decluttering and organizing my home, today I'm going to share with you my absolute favorite tips on how to keep my chaos under control. A lot of us have probably heard that you should turn your hangers around, and that will give you a good idea of what you're wearing and what you're not wearing. That is a fantastic idea, but there was a few hiccups for me, and so I changed this idea up to work for my brain. What I found is that I would flip the hangers around, take the clothes off, and then I would forget to turn the hanger back around. So instead, I decided that I could do something different with this. I could turn all of my clothes inside out, hang them back up, and that would automatically give me the cue if I wore it or not. Because guess what? When I took that sweater off and it was still inside out, I knew automatically it's something I haven't worn in a while. If I found a bunch of clothes that were right side out, I knew that I was wearing them because obviously I had taken them off the hanger, I had washed them most likely, and put them back onto the hanger, so they were being used. This is an idea I just thought I would share because I think so often we hear the turn the hanger around rule, and I think it does work for a lot of people. But for me, I just kept tripping over it and it was not working for me. So that just goes to show that people have amazing ideas out there. Work with your brain in order to make them fit for you. Before we leave this room, I have to mention something that is just too exciting to wait till the end. And that is one of my good friends, Madeline, who is an amazing YouTuber. And I have been talking about doing a video where we could kind of collaborate and share ideas all about decluttering and organization. And so at the very end, I get to share one of her favorite tips. Her full video is going to be down in the description below, and I definitely recommend checking it out because she is way too cool to be missed. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I used to be a shopaholic. A really, really bad shopaholic. And I would shop for anything from I had a bad day to a good day to anywhere in between. So this next one, if you are having a hard time stopping yourself from buying all those things, this tip is for you. But I will caveat with you should probably start small and work your way up. That is 1 out, no in. It's basically like a shopping detox. And it's something that I'm seriously telling you, I had to start 1 day at a time. That is how addicted to shopping that I was. And as somebody with ADHD, I know I was addicted to the dopamine hit that you get when you cha-ching and you hear and you get the bag and you throw it in your car and you're so excited. But what I kept realizing time and time again is that yes, I really enjoyed this. It was my hobby. And so that's why it was so hard to get away from it. It was my identity almost. And then I also saw that there were so many things that still had tags on them that I never took out of the bag. So what was I gonna do about this? And that's where this rule has come in time and time again to help me out. And so what I like to do is I will take a week, a day, a month, whatever you think that you can start with. So on my schedule, I will write that down and I will just say to myself, I'm not buying and bringing anything in at this time. If anything, I'm going to use this time to declutter a few things, especially in those categories where I would like to buy new items in the future. When you declutter, you very quickly will realize the magnitude of the things that you have brought into your life. And that allows us to be more grateful. And on the other side, taking a week or a month not to bring anything excess in, even free things, is that amazing detox that a lot of us need. Because even if you're not like me and you wouldn't call yourself a shopaholic, I bet there are times where you feel more inclined to buy more things than you really need. That's why a lot of us are here, right? We get the advertisements, we go into the stores, and we don't stick to a list of things that we need, and we bring in things that are unnecessary. Some great tips that I use when I'm doing this detox is I do not go into any stores that I absolutely don't have to. There are no Target runs. There's no drop into Walmart. I'm not going into even Trader Joe's if I just feel like I can't walk past all the beautiful flowers. I will stick to just the grocery stores that have exactly what I need. That means don't go down that special aisle in Aldi that has all the tchotchkes that we love. Stick to the aisles that you know you're gonna find what you already have on your list. And then everything else, you can have your little notebook like I like to throw in my bag and write down the things that you're noticing that you'd really like when your detox is over. This next one's too fun not to mention because it's called the reverse scavenger hunt. And that's exactly what it is. You are going to be taking your little basket around your house and having a reverse scavenger hunt. Instead of looking for those little treasures that you want to add to your home, you are going to be looking for those treasures that are going to go back out of your home, which is going to feel even better at the very end. Some of the fun things you can ask yourself are, does it spark joy? Our favorite Marie Kondo saying, right? But if you're having trouble with that one, which I often do, instead of saying spark joy, just ask, when's the last time I used this? Why do I need this? Am I enjoying cleaning this? And if you don't, then there is your answer. You don't need this anymore, and it can go in your beautiful basket, and you can start collecting all those beautiful little tidbits around your house that can be decluttered back out. This is a great game to play if you are hoping to bring in a few things in the near future. Maybe you have that wish list of things. Well, this is a great game to then, in the end, reward yourself with getting that one or two things off of your list that you've really been looking forward to. But just make sure as you're decluttering that you're sending more things out the door than back in, or you're going to be in the same spot that you were before. This decluttering scavenger hunt for me just makes it more fun. Whenever you can make decluttering or organizing into a game, guess what it's doing? It's making those neurons connect in our brain, telling us that decluttering and organization is not as hard, is not as dreadful as we all think it's going to be, and it doesn't take that long. You can even give yourself bonus points if you find things that you haven't touched for months. Because the fact is that I think a lot of us, even myself, still have things hiding in those corners that we haven't touched in forever, and we should be rewarding ourselves for making the right choice. And I forgot to mention this, this is a great way to get your kids to declutter their rooms, their books. Make it into a scavenger hunt. Look for something that you haven't used since you were a baby. Look for something that's red. Look for something that is bigger than my hand, or maybe even something that's broken. This is a great way to get your kids excited about decluttering and finding things, because who doesn't like a scavenger hunt? I hope you're enjoying this little quick walkthrough of some fun decluttering and organizational habits. And if you are, I would love for you to come join our community here on Minimalist by subscribing. And of course, throw a heart emoji in the box below if you are decluttering and organizing with us, because it just brings me an absolute joy to know that I am not alone. All right, on to my last tip, and then our special guest is going to be here in just a minute. Yes, that is a massive tent down there that my daughter has been sleeping in the past 5 days. Hello. But we're gonna go this way. All right, let's talk about this lazy organization idea, because I think it is extremely helpful if you are somebody who's overwhelmed with this idea of organizing your entire home. So what I like to think of when I'm thinking lazy organization is, yes, I want things to be categorized together. I want them to have a home that makes sense for me, and I want that home to be near where I'm actually using that thing, right? What I had to realize is that when I overcomplicate, like instead of 2 small baskets, I have 10, because then I can super hyper organize everything into different boxes and label them. No. You know what that causes for me? That causes procrastination, paralysis, and it also causes me to have mental fatigue, where I just can't decide where things should be going. So if that's you as well, and you feel like you are trying to fit all these things in, and yet it's making you overwhelmed and exhausted, then try creating bigger categories. You can see in my bathroom, in my closet, I have one category that's our toothbrushes and my toothpaste, and one category that's literally everything else. So that's makeup, my medicine, my morning and evening routine when it comes to lotion and serums. That's everything else. When I tried to hyper organize it into small different categories, I lost my ever-loving mind. And so I realized that once I started to step back and look at what I really needed in order for the habit of putting my makeup, toothbrushes, and all the other shenanigans away, I realized that I just needed some sweeping categories, big categories that would help me to put things away, yes, and have this area feel a lot more open and less cluttered, but at the same time, not overcomplicating the idea of organizing.
The 5-5-5 rule. This helps me when I'm really overthinking something. whether that's impulse buying or whether that's decluttering an item and like keep going back and forth. I can't make this decision. I can't think, this jumper, am I going to miss it? Should I declutter it? Am I going to regret it if I give it away? Unless we're talking about really, really sentimental items, then this rule is really helpful. It's just about simply asking ourselves, will this matter? Will this decision matter in 5 minutes, in 5 days, or in 5 years?
This 555 rule is something that I hadn't heard until more recently. And yet I think it's some of the best advice that we can be given. The perspective that it gives us when we're decluttering in our home and when we're out shopping. I went out shopping with my family yesterday and I was in this like really fun store with all these cool tchotchkes and homemade gifts. And I was just thinking to myself, there's so many things in here that I could easily say I would really like to have in my house. But the 555 rule really helps me to slow down and think about, in the next 5 minutes, will I even remember that I wanted this item off of the table? Probably not. And certainly the things that I was looking at in this store yesterday were not things that I was going to keep for 5 years. And so were they things that I really needed to bring in and add to the clutter and my chaos in my house? Absolutely not. The other thing that I wanted to mention when it comes to the 555 rule, 555 rule. Why is it so hard for me to say? The other thing I wanted to mention when it comes to this rule is that for me, it's extremely helpful when I'm decluttering because as somebody who has ADHD, a lot of times I'll get stuck in that process of, do I need it or not? When's the last time I used it? And I can't really remember. And I'll make up all these fun ideas of how I could possibly use this item in the future. Well, this rule that Madeline was talking about can really help you in that area. So let's think about this idea of the 555 rule when it comes to the things in our entryway closet, the extra pair of gloves, the third hat that we don't wear very often. Why are we still clinging on to these things? A lot of times for me, it's because I get stuck in this, well, what if cycle, right? The tornado in our head of what ifs and why I would need these extra items. But when we can have that honest conversation with ourselves about the 555 rule, we realize that, okay, I have the hat or the pair of gloves that I really enjoy. I even have a spare pair of gloves just in case. Do I need that third one in 5 minutes? If I was playing in the snow, would I need a third pair? No. And in 5 years, most likely they won't even be around or fitting. We can get stuck in some of these what ifs inside of our head and they trip us up and stop us on our decluttering journey. That's why it took me so long to declutter as much as I have, because I was getting stuck on these tiny speed bumps all along the way. The more often that we hear about these fun habits and we try them out in our day-to-day life, the better that we're all going to get at decluttering, and most likely it's going to be a little more fun. On that note, if you enjoyed watching this, please don't forget to click on her video as well. And if you enjoyed this video, then click on one of these next ones here. And I wish you guys all the very, very best.